thank my father. Can you hear me? No? Can you hear me now? Dad? I want to thank my father for taking care of my mother these last few years, making sure that she had the best possible care possible and was surrounded by people who loved her and appreciated her. I want to thank my sister Barbara, who acted on all of our behalf and made it possible for my mother to be so well taken care of. I want to thank my sister Judy, my brother David, and Davide and David O for helping us, for being a team, for all their support. I'd like to thank my mother-in-law, who is not here, who's been so helpful to all of us. I'd like to thank Michelle Meyer, who came into our lives as soon as we came here and who's been here all the time and such an important part of our family. I'd like to thank all the staff of Lionsgate, in particular the memory unit staff. Dr. Overbeck. I would like to thank Lena, may she rest in peace, who was a good friend to my mother for a long time. She was there. I'd like to thank Uncle Irvin Ansel for being here for all of us, especially my father and my mother. I'd like to thank my mother's friends, our friends in Beit Shemesh, who pick up for us, and all of you who came from all over to be here for us. My mother was an amazing person. She was brilliant. She was very well read. She loved puzzles. She would do the New York Times crossword puzzle on a Sunday, and she'd leave it 2 or 3 words unfinished, and it would make her crazy. And it would make her even more crazy that Natalie Polavin could do it in less time. But she always could do it. She was accomplished at everything she did. She used to sew our clothes for us. She did beautiful needle points. She could make anything in the kitchen, and she did. And we would always stand there. For Shavuot, she would make blintzes. Judy and I would stand there begging for boo-boos so that we could eat them. She went back to work before her peers started doing that, and took her work very seriously. And
you're stealing my remarks.
I told you.
Okay.
Here's twice, 3 times, 4 times. Doesn't matter.
I was born for
Yeah.
She was a lifelong learner. And when I was a little girl, I remember they had a program in the synagogue for people who didn't know how to read Hebrew, and she was so excited, and she signed up for this program. And as an adult and a mother of 4, she learned to read Hebrew. And she set a great example for all of us in that she never stopped learning and wanting to learn. She lived according to her beliefs. She would not allow us to read C.S. Lewis. She felt that he was an apologist for Christianity, and she wasn't having his books in the house. That was all there was to it. She wouldn't let me join a choir. I love to sing, and she said they sing non-Jewish music, and that was the end of that. And when our neighborhood started to integrate, and many people started to leave because they didn't want to live in an integrated neighborhood, she wouldn't hear of it. There was no question that we were not going to move. She was so insightful and full of good advice. And she was patient. She taught all of 4 of us children to cook, which I know now as a mother meant that there was a lot of extra time spent in the kitchen and a lot of extra mess. And And she didn't have to do that, and she did. And I think we're all grateful. I think our grandchildren, her grandchildren are grateful. She used to play the piano and sing songs, and we would sing along with her. She had folk songs and various songs in these songbooks, and she, from the very beginning, instilled a love of music in us that continues through the generations. She was not a big volunteer, but she cared deeply about helping people who were less fortunate. We saw this in her work, and in the volunteer teaching she did before she went back to work full-time. She would come into the school, and she didn't run a bake sale or a fundraiser, but she would help children with math or reading, and she knew so much about all those things, and she would bring the best of what she had to offer to other people. She also insisted, because I think she spent so much time working with people who were less fortunate, that we never ever in our house used an insulting word or a slur about other people. There were no derogatory terms used in our house, absolutely not allowed. If you knew her during her disease, you learned that she actually did know all those words. And unfortunately, she saved them up for the end. They came out, but I promise you that when we were children, they were not there. Anyway, I miss her insight and her good advice. Whether it's about my children or other parts of my life, I feel so much at a loss without her there for them. And I miss being able to make her proud and tell her stories that used to bring her joy about her grandchildren. My last visit with my mom was in June. I was here for a day, and she told me that she wanted to leave Safe Haven and move in with me. She told me that she thought she would do better that way. She said we'd have a better chance. She said she would feel safer with someone she trusts. I was struck in that conversation by two things. One is her clarity about her confusion. This disease process took so much away from her, but she could be so clear about how confused she was. And she gave you this amazing window into the horrible fears and confusion that she was going through, but she could describe it so clearly. I don't understand how that worked, but she was amazing. Then, of course, the second thought I had when she said this was how much I wish it could have been true. How much I wish I could have taken her home. You know, we all feel that way. How much we wish we could have broken through that fear. The worst thing about this disease was not the loss of her memory, which was horrible, but it was this fear and distrust that it planted in her brain, making us friends one minute, strangers the next, sometimes even foes. Mommy, I want to ask you for mechila, for forgiveness, for all the ways that I let you down and failed to be the daughter you deserved. I know now that you have the peace that you were missing these last few years.